Hello, everyone. Oh, that was a bit of a rush, but anyway, I've done it. I've been really busy this morning. I've been out gardening, and I'm a bit. I'm tired actually. I'm actually. I've dug up a plant that I needed to move a long, long time ago, and I've finally got around to it. And honestly, I'm knackered now. Oh dear. Right. Let me open the chat so I know if anyone is there. Please let me know if you're there. And sorry, a few minutes late. As I say, I've just been so busy gardening and then I got stuck into something. Anyway, there we go. I'm here now. So, what am I going to show you today? Well, I've got a couple of things to show you today. First of all, some news, which is that the free shipping, which was supposed to be just yesterday, because there was some technical problems with ordering. Oh, that's upside down, this, isn't it? I need to sort that out. Hang on a sec. Don't look too much in the corner while I try and work out what the heck is going on here. No, it's just the ceiling. Why is that? Oh. Has that done it? I think that might have done it. That's... Now it's back to front. Oh dear. How is this? Oh, this is hopeless. Right. Hang on. Is it something to do with mirror? Oh, and I've turned it off. Right. Okay. It's about mirroring settings. Oh, it's something to do with mirroring, isn't it? Mirror camera. Perhaps we don't mirror. Let's see if that works. Oh, no, I don't know what it's doing now. Oh, that's the right way up anyway. Right. Oh dear. Ah, that's the correct way around. Goodness me, that was a bit crazy. I don't know why that happened. Right, let me now I've got it the right way around. I can actually show you my craft desk if I can get that to do what it should do. There we go. And it's now the right way around. It was upside down and back to front, and I don't know what happened. Sometimes these camera settings are just awkward. Honestly, it's one of those days, many days. I think as I get older, I have more and more of these days. It's probably me. Anyway, let's get on with what I'm going to show you today. So I've actually got two sets because I'm going to use the sentiments from one set. This is the So Sincere set. Hello, afternoon, Suzanne. Lovely to see you. I apologise for being a little bit late, but I'm here now anyway. So this is the So Sincere set. That's a bit of a tongue twister. And it's got some gorgeous, gorgeous sentiments that you can see there. So I think I'm going to make... oh, I don't know which ones actually. I think I might use Your Kindness Is So Appreciated. I quite like that. Or So Thankful For You. So Thankful For You, I think. We'll have some more thank you cards. I always need thank you cards because whenever I get an order or something like that, I always like to give people a thank you. Oh, and of course, I've forgotten to get all of my... Let me just get loads of those across and then hopefully I've got enough for them. I need a big one. I need a big one. There we go. Get all of those ready, and then you can see me again. I had to bend that forward in order to reach my various bits. So thankful for you. We'll have as the sentiment. I might get some more out actually. We've got hope you're feeling better soon, which is always useful. You're in my heart and prayers, which is always good. And sadly, we need sympathy cards sometimes. Feeling better soon. Hope your day is a happy one. Your kindness is so appreciated. I like that one too. Might get that one out as well. So I can put that on that long one actually. So that's got my sentiments. I think we'll use those. I'm getting two because I'm going to make two cards today. And what I wanted to show you today was a way of making a really, really simple card, but using one of my favourite techniques, which as you can see, because I've got the Versamark pad out, we're going to use embossing. So I'm going to show you two ways around to do it because they'll look much the same. This is the Layers of Beauty set that comes with the gorgeous masks. It has dies as well to cut it out, but I'm going to use the big stamp. And I'm actually going to use the little one as well. Yes, I did push another one out. Use the little one as well. So we've got the huge flower stamp, this one here in the Layers of Beauty, and two small flower stamps and a little leaf, sort of a couple of little leaf twirly thing stamps. There's some nice sentiments in this as well. Grateful for you, happy anniversary, you make my heart smile, God bless. So some really nice ones there. I might use grateful for you as well, actually. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, let me get that one out while I'm here. Grateful for you. I have to go on a big block because that's the next one I've got out here. So I'm just going to move that to one side and get these. So when you are doing any sort of embossing, then you do need to use the Versamark ink pad. It's a watermark stamp pad. And I've given this tip before, but I don't make any apologies for giving it again. If you're using these stamps new, particularly the clear stamps as new, then it can really help to cover them in Versamark before you then ink them. It really does help pick up the ink better, because sometimes the clear stamps can have a little bit of a residue on from the manufacturing process, and actually sticking the stamp in Versamark before you use ink is not a good idea, not a bad idea when it's a new stamp, because it can really, really help you. So that's my little tip for today for using. Oh, I've got two out of it. That's the old Versamark. Is that the dirt? Oh, no, that's the new one. That doesn't really matter. I don't know why I've got two out, actually. But anyway, I've got two out. It doesn't matter. So the card we're going to use today, we are going to use, I'm using a blue that I haven't used very much. It's a gorgeous blue. It's a sort of, I don't know, mid blue, I suppose. So I've got bits of those for that, and I've also got a similar bits. I'll show you. So it's Blueberry Bushel that I'm using, and I've got the ink pad to match, because I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments in Blueberry Bushel. So I'm going to make the dark coloured card first. Just move that to one side. So I've got an ordinary card base here, which is 21 centimetres by 14.8, scored at 10.5, or in inches, 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, scored at 4.25. So this is my base card. So I'm just going to, there's my bone folder, so I can get a good edge to it. Always worth, bone folders are such useful tools. So there's my base card. And then I've also got a layer to go on the front, which is the one we're actually going to emboss. And this layer is 10 by 14.3, or in inches, 4 inches by 5.25 inches. So we're going to start with this one, I think. And for this card, I'm going to be using my Blueberry Bushel for the sentiment. And I've just got a scrap here for sentiment. And obviously that needs to be just big enough to make sure that your whatever your sentiment is that you're going to use actually fits on it. And I've cut that in two ways, so I've got an edge, and I've shown you this again, a little tip before. When you cut an edge, let me show, won't really show up so much, but if you cut an edge, I don't know if you can see on the edge of this card here, it often sticks up a bit where you've actually cut down it. The sort of card is pushed by the blade, and you've just got a little raised edge. And if you don't want that, so I didn't want that on both sides of this piece. So on this piece, you can perhaps see on that edge it's slightly raised, this one's flat. And it was the reverse on this side. If you use your bone folder just along any raised edge, it'll just get rid of it and just flatten it down again. So you lose that edge, which can be a bit of a pain, particularly on little scraps used for sentiments. So that's another little trick that's worth knowing about. So I'll actually stamp my sentiment first, I think, and stamp my one inside. So we'll use your kindness is much appreciated. No, we won't. I don't know which one we'll use, because that might not fit on this scrap. It might just, if I'm very careful. So we'll try that. Your kindness is much appreciated. So I'm just tapping it on the ink pad. You never press. Just check by looking at it that it is covered in the ink. And then this is going to be quite tight to fit on. We'll see if it does fit. I'll have it about there. Oh, well, it would have fitted had I not. Had I pressed it down properly. Obviously, I was so worried about fitting it on, I didn't actually press the bottom of the ink pad on it. So we'll turn it over, flatten it with the bone folder, and we can use this side. And hopefully that's better. Your kindness is so appreciated. Look at the mess I made on that side. I've lost the bottom of the so. Anyway, we've got it there now, which is fine. And I'm just going to get out my little cloth. Whoops, to clean my stamp. especially when I'm using dark inks. I don't like to leave my stamps covered in ink. Doesn't do them much good, to be honest. So that's going to be my sentiment. And I'll stamp the inside of the card while I've got the ink pad out. I'm going to use that other sentiment I got, grateful for you. Well, actually, I might use so thankful for you inside. Your kindness is much appreciated. So thankful for you. Why not? So we'll use so thankful for you again. Make sure it's inked. Press it down properly so it's actually inked. Honestly, so useless today. I think I'm actually slightly shaky. You know, when you've worked really, really hard, your muscles go a bit shaky. I'm actually a little bit shaky because of all the digging I've done. I've dug out a plant I've been meaning to dig out for a long, long time. Yeah, and I'm going to use the flower that I got from the set just to decorate the inside. So I'm not putting a layer inside. You could put a layer inside if you wished. I'm also going to get an envelope or two because I'm doing 2 cards today. Make sure I'm doing the right side. That's the top. So I'm going to decorate the envelope with this as well. And I'm using Blueberry Bushel because I'm using that colour in both cards. So we'll just decorate the envelopes and they're then done. Don't like naked envelopes, as you know. So that's so thankful for you. And I realise I'll need a separate insert for the other card, which I'll need to cut. So that's okay. I'm just going to leave that inked because I will use it inside the other card. So this second card, I am actually going to need 2 pieces of this. So I'll use this piece for the inside while I've got this stamp inked. And I'm going to use the same thing inside here. So we'll have that. I might reverse this. We might have your kindness is so appreciated inside the card and so thankful for you outside. Why not? So that will be my inside of my second card. So I hope this isn't confusing for you, making these 2 cards at once, but I might as well do all the inks while I've got the ink pad out. So there we have that. I've done my 2 envelopes, done my 2 inserts. So I need, got ink on my finger. So I shall just use my sand rubber, which I get from Amazon, by the way, if you need to get one. And if you just very gently work at it, it'll actually take the ink off. The fresher you do it, the better. But it will work on quite dried in ink. And you just have to work away. Can you see how it's reduced, that little ink splot I've got on there? It's because I've got ink on my finger and then touched my card. Common mistake. I can just work away at it, just gradually. Don't press hard because it'll actually damage your card surface. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually got rid of my smudge. So nice. Very useful tool, that. Right, put that one over there. Because what I wanted to focus on today, done my stamping, so I can put that away. Got those done right. So this piece, that's the one I want. We're going to start with this piece. I've got ink there as well. Oh, I've got ink everywhere. The other key thing you need with your Versamark is an embossing buddy. So I'm not sure. I think Stampin' Up still sell them in the set. The embossing, I can't remember what it's called. The embossing helper set or something. I don't know. But anyway, you need an embossing buddy. Get one from wherever. And if you rub it all over the card that you're going to use to do the embossing on, then it just means that you can get rid of any grease marks. Because when you touch anything with your fingers, you do leave a slight grease mark. That's how the police find criminals, by looking for fingerprints and things, and they look at that from the grease mark. And I haven't cleaned that stamp terribly well, so I'm just going to clean it again. Good, that's better. Don't need that one now. So I'm going to use my big stamp. So you do need this big block F, I think this is, from the catalogue, and it's the one you need for these stamps. So obviously with this, it's really difficult and very heavy to try and put it into an ink pad. So with the big blocks, I always take the ink pad to the stamp. So I'm getting my Versamark because that's what we need for embossing, and I'm just going to dab it all over and just work my way around the stamp, dabbing and dabbing, so that I can make sure I've actually covered the whole stamp. And although with a coloured ink, obviously you can tell where you've put the ink, It's more difficult with Versamark because obviously it's clear. But if you hold it up, you'll be able to see just a little bit of shine and stickiness. So then we can get this ready, and we shall have it angled like that, I think. Like that. So I can place it down, and the key with these is to make sure that you've actually pressed all over the stamp, and have some sort of, often doing it on a silicone mat or a foam mat is a good idea. But I just want to make sure I've pressed down over that whole stamp. Don't just press it and lift it like you would with any other one, and then it'll stick because it's Versamark. There we go. And hopefully you can see, if I hold this up and try and get the angle right, you can see, it's very difficult to show these things on screen, but hopefully you can see that I've got my image there covered in Versamark ink. So now I need my white embossing powder. I really do love using white embossing on a dark colour, and I nearly always use Night of Navy actually, but this time I thought I'll use Blueberry Bushel because it's different and I don't use it enough. Some of the I do find I have my favourite colours, and some of them I just don't use as much as others. And as always, I've got this in my Chinese container so that I can not get too much all over my desk, my work surface. And I can use the little spoon I've got just to give it a good click, make sure I've got everything covered. Little flick to make sure I've got rid of any excess. I think that's covered the whole image. There we go. So, oh look, and I've still got some over my desk. I was manage this. I'll try and get this back into the... But I get less mess when I'm using these containers than I do if I don't use the containers. So at least that's better. I can use that. And then we have the magic of embossing. And I never, ever will tire of that. So I need the heat gun. Really important that it's a heat gun. Hair dryers do not work, by the way. Now I'm just going to move this all over the image. And you should see, hopefully you'll see it on the screen. Should see it just change. There we go. It's starting to go. I'm just going to gently move it over the whole image. It's a big image, so it'll take a little while. I hope you can see it on the screen. Yeah, you can see where it's actually changing. If I hold it at the side, it makes it easier. I don't know. Hopefully you can see that better. Nearly all of it. Just going to turn it round so that very important not to have my hands too near it, which is hot, these heat guns. So there we go. There is my heated and embossed image, which hopefully you can see there. So really simply for this card, I'm just going to stick this onto the front, and then we're going to we've got our image stamped, so we can stick that on. I'm just going to do a little bit of fiddling with it. I don't want to stick it on just straight. So that's my embossed piece, which can go on the front here. So because I've already cut them, I know they're the right size. The card will bend slightly when you put the heat all over it, so just hold it down for a second to make sure it has stuck down all over. So that is there. Then I've done my sentiment, which I'm just going to have stuck on the bottom, but I'm actually just going to trim it down a little bit and put a little arrow in the end. And I'm just going to do that by eye. So I'm just going to cut into the center and turn and cut into the center from the other corner to form my little banner. I'm just going to have that along the bottom there. So I'll put ink on the bit I've messed up so nobody will ever see it. Because they don't need to see my mistakes. I'm just going to stick that along the bottom. And yes, it'll cover up a little bit of the image, but not very much of it. So I've made it quite a flat card. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of just some, I think we'll just have these, the ordinary iridescent gems, basic jewels. Where's my pokey tool? There we go. So we'll have just a few of those dotted around, I think. A big one over there. And another little one here near it. And possibly a couple of others just to finish it off. One down there. There we go. Odd numbers, as always. So there is just a really simple embossed card. I hope you like that. Just very, very simple to put together. Just added a few gems, makes it nice and flat to post. So that should go through ordinary post without any extra needed, which is good. And obviously I'd stamped my envelope on the inside as well. So really simple embossed card. But I want to show you how different it can look if you sort of reverse things. So this time, and I need another piece of white. So I need to cut that to the same size as before, which was, let's see if I've got another piece. Yeah, piece will do. So I need that to be 14.3 or 5¼ inches by 4 inches or 10 centimetres. I can keep these for, I keep a little sort of bag of bits for my sentiments. Always useful. So this bit was for the inside, which I'll stick in now so it's out of the way. And then we're going to emboss the front bit again, but obviously not in white, because if I tried to emboss on white, frankly, you wouldn't see it. So it's a bit pointless. So we are going to have this one inside. And then just crease that, because I haven't actually folded the card base there. We are going to have the embossed bit on the outside. So again, I need my embossing buddy. So cover that. And this time I'm actually going to do the sentiment embossed as well. So I've got a scrap of my Blueberry Bushel cardstock, and I'm just going to cover that. So you can see here, the embossing buddy produces just a little bit of white powder, which will wipe off. But you don't want too much on it. It's the wrong side. Let's just do the right side again, where the cut is. So we'll just use the embossing buddy on the correct side. There we go. So I am going to use, this time I'm going to use silver embossing powder on white, and I'm going to use the white again on there. So actually, let me get the white first and do the white. So we'll have, which should we have? We're going to have So Thankful for You on this one, because I put Your Kindness is Appreciated inside. So I'm going to just ink up with Versamark So Thankful for You. I'll probably have to trim this down a little bit, this piece. It's a little bit big, but that's fine. Do you know what? I've just done exactly the same thing as before. Good job I've got a second side, which I'd already embossed and buddied. For heaven's sake, Carol, press down properly on your stamp. Firmly, but not too much. That's better. So my white again. So that's that one done. And I'll put that one away first. Should really close your Versamark before you use embossing powder, because you don't want embossing powder anywhere near your Versamark. But I am going to emboss. Look at those bits everywhere. Emboss my big stamp again. I'm going to use that on this piece here. So emboss all over. That's really lovely. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Suzanne. And it's so simple. If you really want to do, if you're doing a lot of cards for whatever, or perhaps you're doing them to sell at a church event or something like that, then these are sort of really simple cards that don't take too much product, because obviously you can't charge too much for these things sometimes. So again, we're going to place it down so it's roughly in the middle. And as before, just press all over. Really important with these big stamps to take your time and make sure that you've pressed all over the stamp so that it's got all the ink properly onto its paper. And then peel it off, because it's sticky. And you can't see it at all really now, because obviously it's very clear on white. If I do it against the light, perhaps you can just catch that it is there. But this time I'm using my silver embossing powder. These are all of these, the white and the silver and the gold, are part of the metallics set of embossing powders. No, the silver, gold and copper I think are the metallics, and the others are the basic. I think that's the right way around. You'd have to check on the catalogue to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the right way around. But they are the basic ones, and these are the metallic ones. I've just stuck my finger in that, so I made a mess, but that's okay. I can adjust that. Sometimes it's not as easy to hold the cards as you want. So there we have. You can now see my image, which is covered now in silver embossing powder. Yeah, the silver, gold and copper are the metallics embossing powders, and the basic includes white and black. Possibly in something else. I honestly can't remember now. I should have looked it up before today, but there we go. So again, I can, plus the fact, I ought to just mention this, that once you put the embossing powder on, you can leave it. You don't have to heat it straight away. It's got a little bit of extra embossing powder down the edge there that we don't need. As I managed to make sure it has got all of the embossing powder off from where I don't want it. There, that's better. So you can leave it for a while. You don't have to heat it immediately. So we'll just do the So Thankful For You. Hopefully you can see that just changing. Keep away from my fingers. So there's So Thankful For You. And now we'll just do the silver, which I don't know if you'll be able, there. Can you see that changing? So it's starting to shine. I'll do this at a slight angle. Hopefully you can see it as it goes. I just love seeing this. It's just the best part of crafting. It's just wonderful. I don't know how many years I've been doing this, and it's still, I love it. It's just still a wonderful thing to see. Let's turn it round to do this side. Can you see that on the film? I don't know if you can see it going properly on the film. I hope you can. It's such a wonderful thing to see. I'm trying to do it from the side so it really does show up. There we go, where it's actually just melted. Oh, there's a little tip on the top of that hasn't melted. There we go. Yeah, so if you look at it afterwards, you'll see any dark bits where the powder hasn't melted and can go back over them. There's just a little bit on that line there, actually, where I can see it didn't melt properly. So another quick go with the heat gun and it's actually done. So always do check all of your embossing to make sure it has all melted there where you want it. And that's what we've ended up with. So this time, this one's going to go on the front of my card. And then we can compare the two and you can decide which you like best. So I'm not sure which way round I prefer it. That's why I thought I'll do both and then you can have a look and decide which you like best. So trying to get that as much as possible equal on all sides. So it's got the little edge of the blue showing around it. Press it down again. As I say, the heat does bend the card very slightly. And then my So Thankful For You, I am going to trim because it is a little bit too big piece of card that I had, so I can just trim that down. And because I can see through my guide, I can tell where I want to actually cut it, both at the top and we shall have it cut along the bottom, so I can use the lines on my trimmer as well to make sure it's nice and straight, and then hold it down with this bit. There we have So Thankful For You. And we'll cut a little bit off this end. So I can just do my little, I think I'll have just a tiny bit off that end as well, actually. Don't want too much of it on that side. There we go. So I've cut it quite short on that side, actually. I should have perhaps left a little bit further, a little bit longer. Actually, I could, no, I won't. I'll stick it that side. So I'll just have a very shallow little V in the middle. So I've done this by eye. I have shown you before how sometimes you can measure that and make sure it's slightly better than that. Just guess that I've got there. And again, you could put this on with dimensionals. I am going to stick it flat because it does mean I know then that I can post this card just with normal post. It's a bit scary how much things cost on the post nowadays. So you do want to make sure that you have got plenty of, not too much depth on cards by putting things on. But you could raise that on dimensionals if you wanted. And that isn't quite to the edge. I'm like, oh, I probably haven't got enough wiggle room there. Just try and ease it along. There, that's better. And then I've got some old gems. These are old tinsel gems, but they match Blueberry Bushel beautifully. Not sure what colours they... I didn't say what colours they were. It's an old pack. I have found my own colour gems, by the way. I did find them. Hooray! But these actually match Blueberry Bushel so well. I thought I'd use these. So I'm just going to use, again, probably 5 just dotted around of the 2 different sizes. These are quite deep, but again, I know, because I've tried it, that these ones I can actually manage to get through the normal post. But just be careful, because it's easy enough to... There we go. Just a 5 dotted around again. So there's my second card. So what do you think? The lovely blue colour. Yes, Arthur, it is Blueberry Bushel, if you want to know the name of that colour. So there we have 2 cards made in exactly the same way. I'll just compare them both together when I've put my gems away. There we go. So there we have them. So we've got one, the Blueberry Bushel as the layer and embossed in white embossing powder, or we've got the Blueberry Bushel as the base card with basic white as the layer, and we've used silver embossing powder. So what do you think? Which one do you think? Which one do you like best? I can't decide. I think white embossing powder on a dark colour is just gorgeous for whichever way you go, but I quite like it the other way around as well. So I don't know, which do you think? I'll wait and see if anybody's got a favourite. See if you've got a favourite. But I like them both. They're both nice, and I hope somebody would be really glad to receive either of those. I hope so. So I honestly can't decide which I like best. I just love silver embossing because it's so glitzy, so glinty. You can't decide either, hard to write. Yeah, I can't. They're just different ways of doing things. I've just reversed the colour. And sometimes if you do see a card that you like, think about reversing the colours and how you might make it, because you can get some completely different looking cards, as you can see here, just by reversing things and using the sort of reverse patterns of colours. So this one uses the blue layer, this one uses a white layer on blue card, and I've just, again, changed which one I used for the sentiment so that it's the contrast with the front. And yeah, why don't you have a go? I certainly can't decide either. So we're just going to leave it like that. We've got both cards, both envelopes to go with them. I've just got the little matching, little bit of stamping on. I'm not going to do any more to that. I'm leaving that just blue and white as well. So that's my theme for today, and I'm glad you like them. Suzanne, you like the blue the best. That's okay. You can have a favourite. I like both, so I can't decide. But anyway, if you want the measurements again, obviously you can rewatch this video, or I will be putting up in about an hour. My blog will go up, and it has all the measurements on it, so that you can make these ones yourself. So just need embossing powder, a heat tool. As I said, a hairdryer does not work. You do have to have a proper heat tool with the correct plug for your country. You will see at the bottom of my blog, I'll put everything I've used, including the heat tools. So if you're in the UK and need a UK plug, you can get that. Otherwise, you need to check that it's right for your country, the right plug. So you'd buy it from the demonstrator in your country, obviously. Embossing powder. Silver is one of the metallics embossing powder. The white is part of the basic embossing powder set. And as I said, I can't remember the other colours. Black is certainly one. I can't remember, but this one is gold, silver and copper, I think, in the metallics. So there we go, Blueberry Bushel, different gems, just again reverse the gem colour. Really glad. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tips on the embossing, yeah, feel free to pick up those and use them. I shall definitely be putting those in the blog again. So let me just put me back so you can actually see me again. Ooh, that should have worked, it didn't. Let's try again. There we go. Reverse the cameras around so you can see me, just for me to say goodbye. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back next week at my usual time of 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on Tuesday. This is going to be my only blog this week, so do have a look at my website and check all my other blogs, and of course go through YouTube and see my other videos. And I'm so glad you joined me today. Hopefully I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.